is Stuart Almeida, and I'll be going over the Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System Dashboard for DS5011 for our final project. So this dashboard takes in the BRFSS statistical summary data and outputs it all into a single page dashboard. The users can kind of tabulate through, pick different questions and topics and classes to be able to populate the charts, plots, and tables with different data that they want to be looking at. So, kind of quick overview of the overall design. So, most of the information is displayed out in cards. So, we have in the top section of the page the area we can actually pick your class, your topic, and your question to specify what you actually want to display out onto these plots. And every single plot is in its own specific card. It specifically uses a nav set card set so that it's. I found that to be the easiest way to actually not only display the charts out on the page, but also kind of be able to tab through different sections or sections that I've kind of created to kind of get more information on some of the data that we're looking at. So the first thing that I want to look at is how do we actually pick what information we want to have displayed onto the screen. And so the best way to do that is the BRFSS has over 100 questions to pick from. So the best way to do it is, or at least I found to do it, was to separate it out to three separate, kind of a layered system here, where you pick the class, then you pick the topic, and then you pick a specific question that falls underneath those two categories. So right now, I believe the initial default is just set to alcohol consumption, and then the topic initially sets to alcohol consumption itself, and then there's only one question here that falls under. But we can also look at any other classes that are in the BRFSS. Say we wanted to look at cholesterol awareness. So we click on that. And the neat thing is here is that when you pick the class, it'll update the available list of topics that you can actually pick from. And then from that, whatever topic you pick, it actually updates the questions that you can actually pick from that too. So rather than trying to bombard the user with like over just a list of over 100 questions that they could look at, which could be useful in some aspects, but in this case, this lets you, the user, kind of be able to pick specifically what it is they want to look at to quickly get the information that you want to get to. So go back to alcohol consumption and see that after just a little bit, all the information gets updated. We'll keep the topic on alcohol consumption, and we'll keep the question at the only one that it has right here, which is that adults who have had a drink of alcohol within the past 30 days. And so users can, again, kind of pick through whatever top class they want to go through. Topics will automatically update, and then the questions associated with that will also automatically update too. So that's pretty neat. And then to the right of the question card here is the beginning of the actual plots that we have here. So the first plot that we have is just the overall plot, which just looks at the overall section of the BRFSS that's aggregated together. So in most of the other plots here, I have two levels of detail that the user can kind of go into. For the overall one, I only had one level since I couldn't really think of anything that would actually be worth having either an additional level to work with. So I just kept it at what the aggregated values were here for responses to this particular question. So again, it's just mostly a stacked bar plot. On the y-axis, you just have the aggregated percent values, and on the x is just kind of what the bin overall represents. So the neat thing about the nav set cards is that I found this to be the easiest way to be able to create different sections to be able to plot out different aspects of the information. So level 1 is just a bar plot, and then the summary over here is more of a tabular view of that bar plot that has the breakout categories here, the responses, the percentage values associated with those breakout categories, and then the calculated confidence intervals for each of these breakout categories here. So then moving down here, if you can scroll, look down to the left, we look at the temporal view. So most of the level 2s, I'll initially state, were the initial breakout bins that were aggregated, that were provided in the example dashboard given to us. And then for the level 1s, those are kind of things that I looked at the data and kind of thought maybe I can kind of like clump some things together to kind of create a more broader bin set to display that information out if people wanted to kind of reduce the granularity of the data that we're looking at here. So that's just something to keep in mind. So for the level, for example, for the temporal, we'll look at the level 2 first. So right now it's on a year by year basis. So it has every year plotted out with all the responses associated with those years in this bar graph, or in this bar plot. Level 1, I thought, what if we could just create some wider bins? So maybe we had 5-year bins um, after having looked at the level 2 plot aggregated data here. That's kind of what I went with. So instead of having a per year plot, it's now more of a 5-year bin plot to kind of give a broader overview of how the responses might have changed over a kind of more segregated, longer period of time. And the summary as well here, just another tabular view at the level 2 aggregated data here. So again, it just has the actual breakout categories here, which in this case is just the individual years and the responses per the years, the percentage values associated with those years, and again the confidence intervals that were calculated for every year as well. So anything is that the tabular data, you can kind of scroll through it. It is recommended to view this entire program on a full page. It kind of gets a little bit messy just due to some of the scaling, and it's not the most mobile friendly version. But if you get on a full page, it should work pretty decently. And then to the right of the temporal data, again, we have the age plot over here. So again, the level 2 plot were the initial breakout bins that are actually associated in the BRFSS. So in these cases, this looked more to be about 9-year bin ranges with the aggregated percent values plotted out here. So for level 1, again, I decided to combine some of the bins together. So rather than having 9-year bins, they're more about roughly 18-year-ish bins in this case, from ages 18 to 34, for example, on the left bin here. The middle bin is 35 to 54, and then the last bin is just a broader 55 plus year bin. Whereas in the level 2 bin, or in the level 2 bin set, we had a separate category here from 55 to 64, and then beyond 65, was its own separate bin over here. And then again, the breakout summary over here. The summary table again just has the breakout categories here from the level 2 data set here. The responses, percentage, and confidence intervals as well. To the right of that, we look at the gender distribution. So this was the initial breakout bins for gender, which just had female and male, and then the response values plotted out here for each gender. So for the level 1 here for gender, and this is kind of the same case for the race plot as well, decided to kind of just go with an overall overview of the distribution between females and males and a number of responses. So that's what's plotted out here in level 1. Again, summary follows level 2. Down below here, education. Again, level 2 had the initial breakout bins, which had less than high school or GED, some post high school, and then college graduate. For level 1, I decided, okay, maybe I can split it and just have high school and below be one bin, and then anything above high school is its own separate bin as well, to kind of get that more of a clear differential between whether or not high school may have an influence or not. And again, once again, the summary as well follows the level 2 plot. So race, same thing here. So race is similar to the gender categories that I found. So for the level 2, again, we had the individual breakout bins. That's not the problem. And then for more of a less granular look, I decided again to maybe just do a distribution overview of the actual races themselves to kind of see just a percentage of how many of what race, the percentage of responses were tied to a specific race. And then to the right of the race card, we had the income card. So again, level 2 had a bit more granularity with the income ranges typically being about roughly 10,000, 15,000 between. Level 1, again, I combined some of those together, so just break it out more based on about a $25,000 bin range. So we have the first bin is less than $25,000, the second one is between 25 and 50,000, and then the last bin is greater than 50,000, which lines up a little bit pretty decently with the level 2 bins that we had here originally. Summary data, nothing too special there. For the states, initially the aggregate bins were by individual states, which took up quite a bit of space, which is fine. So if you want to see the actual per state / territory values, you can do that on level 2. Level 1, I decided to break it up more by region. So I had just the major regions of the United States, the West, Midwest, South, Northeast, and there are a couple of territories that are plotted or at least noted in the data set. So I had that be its own separate category as well. And again, the summary, once again, kind of goes through every individual state, again, followed the level 2 bin set with the response percentage and confidence intervals for each of those. So every plot has a label to the right side of it that is applicable. For example, the race, the first level 1 race won't really have that just because it's not really necessary. But for everyone that has a specific value, like yes or no response, or if you look at something like demographics and goes into like age, you'll see it much more after it loads. You see what the values actually represent in the bin side. One thing to know is that there are certain topics where a specific chart will not really populate. In this case, this one I've selected demographics, age, and what is your age specifically. And the age plot itself will not populate since we're kind of covering most of that and all the other plots as well. I'm not sure if that's an intended effect or that's something that needs to be worked out, but that's just something to be aware of. That's an effect of the dashboard as it currently stands right now. So overall, there's the overview of the BRFSS dashboard using Shiny. If you have any questions, please just let me know, and thank you.